welcome back to my channel, and today I'm gonna dive into my archives. Although I've just started the channel a few months ago, I have been here for a few years and I've been taking a lot of shots over that time. In fact, I've got quite the collection, and I thought it would be nice to share some of my past explorations and the images that I've captured. So what I've decided to do today is to just stick with one camera type, or at least one negative size. I do have a good stock of 11 by 14 paper, so this is making my decision quite easy for me. I'm going to only look at Hasselblad negatives, so I just set up one thing on the enlarger and then just change negatives and go with that. I've decided on at least two negatives for today. I picked these because of the memory and the moment that is associated with them. So it's kind of like reliving that time once again. So they are both seascapes. Got one inside here and one from here. And there might be one more in the end. We'll see about time and how long it takes me to get the prints that I would like from these two. So with that, it's time to set up and get rolling. Now the first negative, all squared up. This is a Hasselblad negative, so squared. And do a 2.5 grade filter. Everything is already in focus. And I'm not gonna do a test print. I'm feeling lucky. I'm gonna go in right now and I'm gonna say 3.5 seconds. That's the plan. Oh, that is coming in quickly. I'm maybe not as lucky as I'd hoped. Let's try it again at 2 seconds. 2 seconds. That's looking a little better. A bit slower. Nice and gradual. There are two areas of concern. And one is the foreground, which is the sand, and the other are the background items. We're doing okay with the background, the rocks, but we might have to do a little more for the foreground. This might be all right. I don't know what to do. There's something very beautiful in the sand being so washed out and just very subdued, while the background rocks are just solid and dark on this very soft foreground. You can see there's this very distinct horizon line, and everything in the foreground is soft, and there's a bit of color and some pattern, of course, in the rock that's not too distracting, and it's so subtle that I think I don't want to burn the foreground because it allows the background to just pop off the paper, and the rock in the foreground that's sort of reaching out over the space balances the empty space in the bottom. And I think if I do too much here, I'll cause an imbalance in the visual weight. So I'm thinking this is it. Second image ready to go. Another seascape with the Hasselblad, and 2.5 seconds with a 2.5 grade filter. Let's see if this works. No, that did not work. That is way too much. All right, let's try again. Just a second and a half. Okay, a little more gradual. The development, that's looking a bit better. Still too much in the sky, maybe. Maybe. This is just 1 second. The difference in exposure times is so minimal. Looking at it right now, I like the second or so of exposure because I like the sky not being as developed as the previous one. But I'm beginning to wonder if I go to a 3 contrast filter and keep the same time, that I just might get a little bit more development. Let's do 1 second with a 3, just to see what changes we get. Not sure if I am seeing much of a difference or just anything, just marginal. I really like the image. I'm not disappointed at all. But while I have the image and it's here, I feel like I should play with it a little to help me learn more of the subtle dynamics of the relationship between contrast filters and exposure and where I'm at and where I would maybe want to be, and how do I do that in a subtle way. I think the background is slightly darker and there's a little bit more information coming through in that area, and the sky is more or less the same, which is what I want. So I might just do a 3.5 and maybe like a touch, like a 1/4 second, maybe 1/3 of a second more, just to see if I can keep that sky just sort of balanced and see if I can play around a little with that. So we'll try that. Last one for this negative, just here again, experimenting. Up to a 3.5 grade filter with just over 1 second. I'm keeping the same exposure. The other ones, why change that? Just change the filter and see what happens. The main subject is coming through a little bit quicker. Definitely the blacks and the shadows coming up first quite nicely. It's taking a little bit longer to get the background, which I thought would maybe develop a little bit faster across the rest of the image. The shadow is not as dark as the previous image, and neither are the hard blacks. I'm not getting what I want at all back here. right now. That's just washed away, and I really like this part of the image because it is the background that sets depth, and the shadow here is just looking pretty weak, and the lack of development in this area is just not going to, it's not going to be comfortable as an image. So I'm going to keep the 3.5, but I think I need to compensate time from the 2.5 to 3.5. I don't think I did what I needed to do. So I'm going to do one more. Last one, 3.5 with 2 seconds. And it's coming in quick, but that's all of the shadows and the blacks. Well, that was a really enjoyable afternoon going back through the archives and digging up some good memories and some good old negatives. The first one right here, this was unplanned, out early, happened to be down at Fazayat Beach just after the high tide. So this perfect sand without any footprints or disruption. This one I took with the Hasselblad as the first test roll after getting it back from service, just looking to shoot, and happened to find, again, just a pristine beach without any footprints and just perfect on a road trip. And I just saw this on the side of the road past Merbat, and I had to get a picture. Totally my style. I love this one. So that's it, and it won't be the last time. I've got hundreds of negatives from all of my explorations over the past few years that I've been here, so I will be going back into the archives to find a little bit of history and relive some great stories. So until next time, take care.